Welcome, my friends, to this showdown between the Vampire Coast, who shall be led by Luther Harkin atop his mighty Terror Goose. And today, guys, we're going to be facing off against the Empire, who shall be led by Boris Todbringer and his super powerful mustache. So as far as the build goes, it's pretty much my old school build against Empire, despite the nerfs to Noctilus and some of the changes to Vampire Coast, like the deck droppers with handguns. Most importantly, I still feel like this build is very good against the Empire. So essentially what you do, and you can see, yeah, the new Empire have some really good tools for sure. Huntsmen are so good against Vampire Coast. Anti-large, great against Morngulls, great against the mighty bloaty boys. Are bloated corpses actually large? I don't really know if they are. But nonetheless, the Huntsmen are really, really good. I mean, they're pretty good against Luther, good against Colossus. Just the stock ability is great, and yeah, just so many awesome tools for sure. But basically in the front line, you just bring deckhand mobs. Pretty self-explanatory. You're fighting state troops, swordsmen, spearmen, things like that, and you're going to be taking a lot of missile fire. So I don't think it's worth investing in an elite front line and like bringing a bunch of depth guard and things like that. So we do have 5 of them in total. And here in the back, we have the double cannons. So the carronad's quite good. For the cost, they trade pretty effectively with Empire cannons, and you have these, plus you have scurvy dogs and deck droppers. You can usually shut down and win the cannon duel versus the Empire, in my experience. So double cannon's very good against Empire heavy cav, and most Empire players basically, I mean, I do the same thing. I just bring a bunch of huntsmen, I bring the Deathjacks, which I believe he brought as well, and you can see Hyali Nali with the schemes back here. The Deathjack's going to be ambushing my forces, so you basically go a ton of bows, you go Empire Knights to clean up scurvy dogs and other harass units, and then you just grind them to dust with your attrition and all that bow fire, which is very strong. But 2 deck droppers as well, so it's really important for me to control the cav play and the mobility play from the Empire, controlling Toddy, controlling the pressure from Empire Knights. So deck droppers with handguns actually really good if you save the ammunition, you don't waste ammo on small targets, and you just use it on like Empire Knights and Reichsguard and anything else like that. Could be Demogryph Knights as well. So we have 2 of those with Luther Harkin. And Luther's a powerhouse. He's just an absolute monster of a duelist. He has a pistol shot, which hits like a truck, so he can chase him, he can shoot, he's got Hornswoggle, he has breath attacks. Luther, I think, is a super competitive lord, and I'm actually glad Noctilus got nerfed a ways back, because it really gave Luther a chance to shine. We got a Vampire Caster for some heals. The Black Spot as well is, they're a strong independent handgun mob here. They have anti-large, armor piercing. If they get caught out, they're going to be able to fight, and it's not going to be the biggest issue in the world. Now, just to deal with swarms of infantry, because oftentimes Empire is going to just have a ton of bows and a ton of infantry, and they're just going to try and zerg you, and it works really well. So Death Guard, I think, are a great answer here. You just kind of keep them in the back until the very, very late game. You pull them out to clean up the chaff, and if they're not being focused by like bows and any other high quality assets like Boris Todbringer, Karl Franz, they're going to be able to fight and grind and heal for quite some time. But yeah, the 2 cannons again, good to be laying down fire on the cav, and that's pretty much it. A couple of halberds as well. So for the forces of Hyali Nali here, he's got a bunch of huntsmen here in the front line. He's got a bunch of Empire Knights, spears as well. Outriders with grenade launchers. I love just the single pick of this. Like, I don't think it's worth having multiple, but just having one to kind of shoot down chaff is really good. In the back, he does have a Fireball caster. So Fireball, Burning Head, Flaming Sword of Ruin, all pretty good against Vampire Coast. I believe Luther Harkin is weak to fire. Yeah, he is. So imbuing the Flaming Sword on Toddy is going to be quite good. He's got Toddy for the self-healing, and that's pretty much it. Also, guys, I forgot to mention, I do have scurvy dogs just all over the map. So I have one here, and I believe there's one on the other side as well. So let's get this show on the road, guys. Have some fun. So I get a little bit greedy here out of the gates with my deck droppers. I come forward trying to get some pot shots on the grenade launcher. So actually open up a nice little salvo here, immediately getting 16 kills. Fireball coming downtown as well. From the caster, it looks like it was going after Luther, but I was able to juke it. So I sent some dogs up front here to attack his huntsman, just try and push him back a little bit, buy some time, because I was getting hammered in the front line. Luther's also going to be coming in as well, taking a massive volley to the face. So that was like a wake-up call here. And in the back, you can see Hyali Nali just attacking and pressuring from all angles. The Deathjacks do come back here. So I sent some halberds, and I also sent some scurvy dogs that I had in the front line, because, yeah, it's fresh fish, and I need to get some value back, because so far I'm getting outvalued very hard. And you can see the bounce power actually reflects that pretty significantly. In the meantime, my scurvy dogs in the back have been hunted down by some Empire Knights. So I kind of tried to pull them away a little bit, but it just really wasn't working out for me. So Luther Harkin here, going to be getting attacked by Toddy. Now I'm pushing forward with my deckhand mobs and all of my other troops. And basically I have to be very conservative with my deck droppers, make sure I'm not running into the kill box here of these huntsmen, just try and shoot out his cav units wherever I can. So here I'm going to be going after grenade launchers, while Luther Harkin is in Mortal Kombat up here in the sky. So Luther Harkin going after Toddy, and I was quite happy to take this duel. Invocation of Nehek will give you healing, and though Toddy does heal, he's hornswoggled right now, so he's been tricked. His melee defense, his armor, all his different stats are very low, and Luther, of course, is like, I think, one of the best duelists in the game. He shoots him with the pistol while he also attacks. Fireball coming downtown from the caster there, smacks me right in the face, doing a ton of damage, and I'm also taking Huntsman Overwatch fire, so this is still a good trade for me, though. We're pulling back in the bounce power a little bit. Toddy's very beat up. Granted, he will heal, so it's not the end of the world. Over on the far side, too, you can see that some of the scurvy dogs and skeleton boys have been able to catch the Deathjack, so we were able to fend back these these guys, but they already paid for themselves. They only cost like 600, and they were able to really, oh, look at that big paw. It's like when Wookiee paws me. They were able to really take out my Carronade, which for them, pays for them plus more. So, and it pulls troops away from the front line. So these scurvy dogs aren't chasing Huntsmen, they're dealing with this. So, man, such a good deployment there from Kelly. In the meantime, though, Luther is still chasing Toddy, but I kind of realized at this point I was in the danger zone a little bit. I was like, you know what? I'm in enemy territory. I'm taking a ton of fire. So with Luther, I basically just try my best to start juking here. So I'm just going back and forth, trying to run away from the center, avoid fireballs, things like that. But yeah, I don't have too many zombies left. I have zombie power deckhand mobs here fighting. I have some on the far side fighting here as well. But we're also able to get some cav units. So we're starting to kind of get value back across the board. This is 850 or 800 here for these Empire Knights, if I'm not mistaken. The Jack Droppers have plenty of ammo. We pepper them down. The other Empire Knights are getting focused as well. You can see they really get taken apart by Jack Droppers. So we're getting our value. And plus, winning that Lord duel was quite nice. Big breath attack coming down there from the Bright Wizard. But it's at a cost. You know, I'm taking a lot of focus fire. Every time I stop to do a breath attack or anything like that, I'm really getting focused. So at this point, just juking to the best of my abilities. But nonetheless, it's become a pretty close game. I have some doggos coming back as well. So the late game doggos going to be quite powerful. I did also summon some pistol mobs here. So here come the scurvy dogs. Going to be drifting into these guys and getting a huge jump on the huntsman, which is really, really nice. I need to get rid of those guys because, man, they're just peppering me down. So yeah, I have basically 2 zombie summons going. One of them's the older one and one of them is the newer one. So yeah, we're getting some sweet bread right here. Taking out those huntsmen is quite juicy. So I still have 1 Carronade online, which is quite nice. Deck Dropper's doing an outstanding job now, taking a little bit of Huntsman fire. We still were able to take out the Empire Knights, and another group of Empire Knights are coming back. So with Vampire Coast at this point, I'm like, all right, let's fall back. Let's kind of get our bearings. Let's get some Invocations of Nehek and send in the Depth Guard. So Depth Guard are coming out. Although, honestly, I probably should have saved them for a little bit later in the battle. Here you can see that there's going to be a taunt going down as well. I'm just trying to get a pick on these Sigmar Suns, do some damage where I can. But the Huntsmen are still advancing. Another Fireball coming down as well from the Bright Wizard, and it looks like that's going to be going after Luther. Luther has 2.6k. Oh, nice Fireball, doing like 500 damage. Luther is in the danger zone. So dropping a big indication here does hit Luther as well as my Vampire Fleet Captain on the ground. Deck Dropper is coming forward once again and getting some great saturating fire against these Empire Knights. Just an awesome shutdown option against him. And yeah, despite the nerfs, I don't think they're like... Because when they first came out, Deck Droppers with handguns were good in like every single matchup. They were just super oppressive. But now I think like they have niche applications and really nice charge there by Hyali. He's able to get a beautiful charge on my Depth Guard, which... They're getting peppered pretty bad. And though they're fighting some good targets, they'll get some kills here, which is nice. And they are buying time at the end of the day for some heals and keeping the Empire from advancing into my last cannon there. So I guess it's not the worst thing, but nonetheless, they're really getting hammered pretty hard. And they've only accrued 11 kills. The Huntsmen are really shooting into those guys, so Luther needs to get some of those goodies right now. So I saw an opportunity here in the back for the Bright Wizard. So I go for a breath attack, but for some reason the attack animation got canceled. It's a very weird thing with breath attacks, but in the end, it ended up being okay because I will be using that later on Boris, and hopefully it'll be paying its dues. So at this point, just trying to do some backline cleanup. Zombie Pirate Deckhand mobs trying to keep the halt the advance of the Empire. And I kind of knew in the back of my pocket that if I could get on Toddy, maybe finish him off with Luther, that maybe, just maybe, Luther Harkin would be able to clean these guys up because Huntsmen aren't that great in melee. 16 and 17 for their combat stats is pretty weak for sure. Now in the back line, I still have 1 group of halberds. My Carronade is still shooting in, and the Carronade has just been trained on the Bright Wizard for most of the battle here towards the end. And you can see the Bright Wizard here is wavering. He's not in the best shape, and we might be able to actually break him, which is quite good. Nonetheless, Luther going to be going for a jump on some of these Empire Knights who are taking some substantial fire here from the Deck Droppers with handguns. And if you're using Deck Droppers, I recommend you guys practicing using them with taking fire at will off so you don't waste ammo. Like they're kind of like Way Watchers in that way that you kind of have to make sure that your ammunition, at least with the handgun variant, is very, very optimized. But nonetheless, we have a pretty big pit fight here. Luther's going to be going for a freebie on some Huntsmen. And yeah, big volleys coming in from these Huntsmen over here, just wasting into my Deck Droppers, which are considered large entities. So the bonus versus large really helps. But the Vampire Fleet Captain for Admiral here is very, very strong. Should be able to hold these guys back. The zombies should be able to hold as well with the support of the Captain, with the taunts and other abilities like that. And right now, though, there's a pretty big opening. Kelly does see the bread here. The Carronade is a pretty big target. Empire Knights are going to be charging through the forest, but I figured it wouldn't be too bad because Luther could come in, finish them off. They're taking a lot of fire, and ammunition is running danger low here for the Empire. I mean, they've been just saturating Luther and my other targets this entire game. But ammo's running low, only a couple volleys here, and I knew if I could run them out of ammo, and it's really going to come down to, can Luther beat Toddy? It's going to be hard. Toddy goes in here for a great jump. He goes to attack the Vampire Fleet Captain, but he does overextend a tiny bit on the charge there. And Taunt is active, so here we go, and it looks like we got a little bit of damage, down to 24 leadership here. Toddy, of course, still healing, but Luther was able to clean up the back line, chase off those Empire Knights, and here he comes. So Luther Harkin plus a ton of focus fire. We just got like 500 damage off those Deck Droppers here. So this is the chance for the scurvy pirates, their cunning tricks, to come in and potentially take this game back, and you can see the balance of power is ebbing back into our favor here, which is quite nice. But I still can't overextend. He still has Huntsman shooting. If I get caught in like 1 or 2 bad volleys with Luther, it's going to be just game over. So I'm just juking. I'm trying to waste the ammo to the best of my abilities. My carronade's still online, but not for long. He does have all 3 crews, but he has Huntsman going in. The Huntsman should be able to finish off that carronade, no problem. So I still have the deck droppers, and Toddy coming in for a kill here, but we have the counter breath attack. So the old bait and switch, we get a big old breath attack, and Boris Todbringer takes it all right in the face. So I figured he would jump down after the Vampire Fleet Captain, at which point we could counterpunch with Luther Harkin's breath attack, and we got some huge value. So Toddy's still healing, but he's pretty close to his healing cap. A little bit of a downtown fire coming in from the deck droppers, but now I had to go for the death thrust. I had to go for the killing blow here. My Vampire Fleet Captain was going to be able to hold forever. They're really, really tanky, and I believe they do have the hunger, so they can heal, and like state troop quality stuff isn't really going to be able to kill it really quick. But Toddy's on the run here, but Luther will be shooting his pistol. He has 90 range, and you can see dropping a shot right there into the back of Boris. It looks like it did miss, actually, but Hornswoggle's active. I figured he would try and get away here, so we do that. His speed's 69, that's what she said. And here comes the duel of duel. This is going to be deciding the fate of the game, but Toddy is no slouch. And despite being taunted down, he's still holding quite firm. 199, is Toddy going to make it? And it looks like Luther is going to be able to break him, and he's going to be running at this point. So 99 is going for that, and he is shattered. So we're going to be turning around at this point. Luther, even though he's shattered, being a pirate, of course, has to do the dishonest thing and just shoot him in the back as he flees. And of course, we still do have the Vampire Fleet Captain here on the ground fighting. And yeah, I mean, Huntsmen are going to have a really bad time here. They are not good in melee. They're basically, their points are accrued in other ways, right? The anti-large bonus, the being able to kind of stalk, and they bring a lot to the table, but melee combat is not one of them. So Luther's going to be coming in, a big old breath attack, tearing into those guys, doing a lot of damage. And that's going to be all she wrote for the Empire. So man, that game, for anyone who's wondering if they're having deja vu, that was a game from one of my live streams. One of the ECLs, actually. We played a game after the fact. And man, it was a really tense game. If you guys want to go back and watch it live, you can really capture all the emotion of the different moments. But I figured that game was worth a cast because it shows 2 very good builds facing off. And yeah, I think that Vampire Coast build is definitely pretty strong. And the Empire build is really, really good as well. I mean, the Fireball caster, Boris, the Huntsman pressure is really, really hard to deal with. And he did such a good job stopping my Hound pressure in the beginning. His Empire Knight play was really good. I mean, he was able to really just kind of screen me out and just kind of back me into a corner. But yeah, it ended up being a good game. We were able to slowly just claw our way back, just small value, just here and there, wherever we could, with the deck droppers picking off Empire Knights, with Luther winning duels in the sky, with Luther and the cannons getting some sniping on the Firecaster. Just all those little things really over the course of the game added up. And you can see the last of these Brave Sigmar Sons will be going here. We'll do a little bit of a fast forward. We were actually chatting at this point during the game, so that's why neither of us had left the game at that point. But very well played, Yale. It was a super fun match. We also played another match after this, which was very, very fun. So you guys will be seeing that up on the channel probably in the next week or so. I had the worst thing happen. So yesterday, this game will probably be going up on a Monday. I'm recording it on a Sunday. I had 15 videos edited, ready to go. Magic the Gathering, Warcraft 3 Reforged, Total War Warhammer, all good to go. And then I accidentally deleted them. Like, I had put them in the wrong folder that I usually put my edited file or files that are prepping for edit, and I accidentally deleted it because I thought it was something else. And they didn't go to the recycle bin, because if you delete something that's that big, it permanently deletes it, right? So basically, it went to the recycle. It didn't go to the recycle bin. It got permanently deleted. So then I went to try and get some software to salvage it, and basically the software was able to recover the files, but they were all like corrupted and just didn't work. I was so sad earlier today, but nonetheless, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. We'll talk about this. But yes, I'm going strong. We're coming back. I'm going to be up till midnight. We're going in to record more content, because that was like my content for the whole week, right? Oh, man, that was like all my work from last week. Oh, such a bummer. Such a bummer. But the deckhand mobs here, we're good. Yeah, I mean, the build is pretty good. I should have been much more careful with the Black Spot and the Depth Guard. I don't think I needed to show their hands that early and just let them get sacrificed to the Black Spot. Like, the Depth Guard literally could have hidden the trees until that very last moment. They didn't make much of a difference. I should have kept them back longer. That was poor discipline on my part, and I should have kept the other Black Spot like a little bit further back, like in the forest, as more of a defensive unit. But yeah, it's okay. Mistakes happen, and that's that. And for Hyale's build, it's an ace of a build. It's really good. 210 on those Outriders. It really just came down to a couple clutch moments. I think the builds were pretty evenly matched, and yeah, made for a great game. So very well played, Hyale. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Vampire Coast vs. Empire game. And guys, there's going to be more content coming soon for sure, because we're going hard tonight, boys. All right, take care.